Hey, this is Davin with Hagerty and Redline Rebuild Updates, working on the 37 Ford race car. Specifically, I need a can for this fuel tank. I'm over at our Hagerty Learning Garage using some of their equipment that they have over here in their little body shop area. So I'm going to use the brake and the shear and the brake and bend up a box. Ultimately, one would take and buy a kit where you got a bladder and the box at the same time. But we have the bladder that we're going to use, and I just need to make up a steel can for it to sit into. So it's going to be fairly simple. The can needs to come up, and it needs to have about a 1 inch to 1.5 inch lip on it all the way around. And then there's a flat top that goes across it, kind of to protect the plastic from any kind of hits if you're racing. So how I'm going to lay this out today is I'm going to bend, here let's go from this side. So I'm going to bend up a piece that'll look like this, come all the way down around underneath the bottom over here, come up and then leave a lip out here on both ends, and then I'll make 2 caps to go on each side, and then ultimately I'll just take and tack weld them together, and then we'll paint it and it'll be ready to be installed in the car. So with that, I'll start making up my dimensions and taking some measurements, and then of course crossing my fingers that I do it all right, because that's just the way it goes. So I'm gonna make it look like this. And I think 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4. This is 11 and 11. I'm gonna give this some extra. 23 3/4. Seemingly fits. Look at that. Son of a gun. Might even work. Think I can repeat it? Well, we're back over here at our shop, and we have our box fabricated as far as all the bends and the cuts, and we have a lid made for it as well. Next step, I need to go through and tack weld the box together. So I'm going to use one of these little hole punches. Works pretty nice. It'll be right along this outside edge, and then I'll use MIG welder to spot weld each one of them, and then basically continue and get this completely together. And then I'll take my top over here and cut out my center hole for the bail on the fuel tank, and then of course the drain, or the outlet and the vent. So we'll keep working on that and be closer. Sucks like a little now. That wasn't too bad. So here we go. We have a box. Like a glove. Look at that. There we go. Okay, now how to make that fit over to that. Is that good? Okay, so we cleaned off the, obviously the vent and the inlet, and also tightened this up. Got our bail out of the way and took our measurements. We transferred them over here to our piece of steel for the top. Now, the center bail hole will need to be a little bit larger than, at least larger than our, where our screws come in. So it's not just the cap, it'll be out here. That way it'll lay flush. Now, I've got a pretty good center, and I have some pretty good centers for my holes here. So I'm gonna use a stepper bit to knock these two in, because I have one that's big enough. But I don't have what ends up being a 3.5 inch, I'm sorry, a 6.5 inch hole for my fill. So what I'm going to do is utilize this board, and I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole here with a mating 1/4 inch hole here. I will lock that to here. Then I'm going to take what ultimately ends up being 11/16 drill bit, and I'm going to drill a hole here, and then I can take and put my plasma torch into that, and then I can just go around this circle and cut a hole that's hopefully a lot cleaner looking than that would have been. So let's see how that works. How close is it? Oh, look at that. Well, I think it cut as smooth as I held it. Well, not too bad. Everything comes through where it's supposed to, at least. So I guess what I'll do next is I'm gonna go ahead and, obviously I'm gonna deburr this, clean this up a little bit, deburr that hole, trim the corners, and get some bolts and just attach it down here, and then we'll start putting it into the car. So that'll pretty much wrap up the fuel tank body here. And yeah, that'll be all right. It will serve the purpose. Well, let's see if it's close. Look at that. It fits. All right, so we got our fuel tank done, and it is sitting in the hole that was already here, but I have a couple aesthetic issues with it more than anything. One, level is closer to here. And that being said, now the back of my tank is a little further rearward than I would like. So what I'm going to do is cut these braces that are in here already, and I'm just going to slide them forward about probably 3 inches. That should still give me plenty of space to the axle. And then I'll level it out with the fronts. So, little die grinder action. Let's get this out of the way. What's really nice is it's not full of fuel. Well, there we have it. We have our braces, or the bottom piece that's going to hold up our fuel cell. They're in place. I shuffled them forward just a little bit. I didn't have a whole lot of room because it's deceiving with the back of the quick change. There's about a 4-inch cover that comes in here. So I left myself about 1 inch of space. I should be okay. And then of course we leveled that tank out. So it sits a little flatter relative to the rest of the car. Aesthetically, it looks a little bit better. Now, the last thing I need to do is, yes, now it has somewhere to set, but of course on the track, and you're bouncing around, you need some sort of hold down. So what I'm going to do is just fab up a quick, some 1-inch tubing. I'm gonna come up and across and down, and then the lip of the fuel cell will sit, it'll sit like that, and that'll hold it in place. Using these bolts, I'll pull them out, put longer ones in there, and then drill down through the 1-inch tubing, and that'll hold everything together, and voila, we have her done. So that's what I'm gonna accomplish there, and then it's on to the shock absorbers in the battery. Sweet. There we go. Fuel cell's in. Couple holes here, clamp her down. Of course, pull it all back out, paint it. But so that's our fuel cell. That is in. At this point, I'm gonna take and throw my leaf springs back in, get the axle and everything back mocked up, and then move towards the shock absorbers. And as soon as I have a battery box, it's coming. And as soon as that's here, then I can make a mount that my battery will hang up in here on the front side of the axle. And then what I'll do is I'll have it clamped on here, and actually the battery will be able to slide. I'm actually just going to set it way over here on this side. Typically speaking, in a circle track car, you tend to put all your weight to the left side. So then as you're going around corners, it kicks over and then loads you right. Whereas in a street car or a drag car, you put everything in the center because you want equal weight. But for this, that's how we're going to do it. So our leaf springs are mocked back up in there and bolted haphazardly to the axle. Right now all I'm going to do is set the frame and the axle and everything back down to its ride height. And that would allow me to, basically I need to compress the spring. So I'm going to set the body and everything down. Ride heights as far as the axle is concerned, is where the jack stands are at. And then I'll lower the body to the point where I know what my numbers are because I wrote them down here on the table earlier. Measure that up. Point is I need to have the leaf springs at their compressed state, so ride height, so I can set my shock mounts in so I know how high everything is going to be. Because right now this would be, call it fully extended, and if I were to throw a measurement on here, fully extended to that eye and to that, which I can see right now won't work, but is 22 inches. So these shocks fully extended are 24, so they'll mount up. But what I'm worried about or see right now is the angle to where they're at, they're actually going to hit. But we'll worry about that here in a second. That's going to go up in there. Let's throw a bolt in it so it don't hit me in the face. At least more than once. Well, that's a yuck. All right, well, you can see I have everything mocked back up again with our springs and the perches and basically everything that came on the car as we got it. There's a couple issues that I really was hoping I wouldn't have. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna need different lower perches because there's two reasons. One, the shock's not gonna mount up like I was hoping it was going to. And secondly, it's not such to made up to our axle as well. And then the upper mounts are need to be turned and cut off. And then this upper mount needs to be cut off and completely revamped, and the same problem over here on this side. So at the end of the day, what it amounts to is I need to figure out a little different game plan relative to pieces that I'm going to use to make those mounts. And yeah, it's the end of the day. So at this point, you know what to do. Go get in your shop, get some work done. I mean, if nothing else, I bet you it needs to be swept like mine does. So get out there, go and enjoy the day. It's got to be beautiful outside. See ya.